The wooden plane the Nazis couldn't stop. At 22,000 feet over Berlin, the night sky should have been quiet. German radar operators expected the familiar pattern of heavy bombers moving slowly in predictable formations. Searchlights rested idle, their crews smoking, waiting. Anti-aircraft gunners listened for the distant hum of engines that usually announced an attack long before it arrived. But that night, something appeared on the radar screens that didn't fit any known profile. The signal moved too fast, too clean. It crossed the city in minutes, not miles per hour, but almost as if it were slicing straight through the darkness. There were no escort fighters, no defensive formation, no long warning for the city below. By the time alarms were considered, the aircraft was already gone. German night fighters scrambled into the sky, engines screaming, but they chased empty air. No pilot saw it, no gunner fired a shot. When intelligence officers later identified the intruder, disbelief spread through command rooms. The aircraft that had just humiliated Berlin was built, mostly, of wood. In 1940, Britain was fighting for survival. The Luftwaffe crossed the Channel night after night, striking ports, factories, rail yards, and cities. London burned, Liverpool shook. Industrial centers that kept the war alive became targets. The Royal Air Force responded with courage, but the cost was brutal. Bomber crews climbed into aircraft, knowing the odds were against them. Heavy bombers were slow, burdened by armor, guns, and large crews. They flew straight into concentrated flak and swarms of enemy fighters. Losses mounted at an alarming rate. Each mission drained experience, morale, and irreplaceable manpower. Commanders searched desperately for solutions, but every solution seemed to worsen the problem. The logic of the time was simple. If bombers were being shot down, they needed more protection. Thicker armor plates were installed, additional gun turrets were added, more crew members were assigned to defend every angle. Bombers flew in tighter formations so overlapping fire could protect them. But physics could not be ignored. Each improvement added weight. Each kilogram reduced speed and maneuverability. Bombers became easier to track, easier to intercept, and easier to destroy. The skies over Europe were becoming a graveyard for slow aircraft. Quietly, an idea emerged that challenged decades of thinking. Instead of trying to absorb damage, what if an aircraft simply avoided it? What if speed, not armor, was the key to survival?
What if a bomber didn't need to fight at all? To many, the idea sounded irresponsible. Bombers without guns seemed defenseless. Aircraft without armor sounded suicidal. But to one man, it made perfect sense. Geoffrey de Havilland had spent his life pushing against convention. He believed aircraft had become over-engineered and overburdened. In his view, speed was being sacrificed for protection that never truly worked. His proposal to the British Air Ministry shocked everyone in the room. He suggested a bomber with no defensive guns, no heavy armor, and a minimal crew. The aircraft would rely entirely on speed and altitude for protection. Even more controversial was the material he proposed. Instead of aluminum, the aircraft would be built largely from wood. The reaction was immediate and harsh. Officials laughed openly. Some accused him of wasting time during Britain's darkest hour. A wooden bomber, they argued, would be torn apart by cannon fire. It would burn. It would fail. The proposal was rejected, then rejected again. Files were closed. Meetings ended.
But the war refused to slow down. Losses continued to rise. Eventually, desperation reopened doors that pride had closed. De Havilland was granted limited approval, but support was minimal. There were no priority allocations of metal or machinery. Instead, the project relied on ingenuity and improvisation. Furniture factories were converted. Piano makers, cabinet builders, and boat craftsmen were recruited. These were people skilled in shaping wood with precision and strength. The aircraft's fuselage was formed in two smooth halves, molded like a canoe and bonded together. The result was strong, lightweight, and remarkably aerodynamic. There were no rivets to create drag, no metal seams to disturb airflow. It was sleek in a way few aircraft had ever been. Twin Rolls-Royce Merlin engines were mounted on the wings. These engines already powered Britain's most famous fighters, but without heavy armor weighing them down, their performance reached new heights. When the prototype first flew, observers struggled to believe what they were seeing. The aircraft climbed rapidly, it handled smoothly, and most importantly, it was fast, faster than bombers.
Faster than many fighters. Faster than German defenses were prepared to face. The aircraft was named the Mosquito, a nickname that would soon take on a far more ominous meaning. At first, it entered service quietly. No press releases, no public celebrations. Its initial missions were reconnaissance flights deep into enemy territory. Flying alone, without escorts, the Mosquito crossed borders and returned with photographs no other aircraft could safely obtain. German fighters attempted interceptions and failed. Radar operators detected it too late. Anti-aircraft guns fired blindly into empty sky. The Mosquito came and went on its own terms. Soon, bombing missions followed. The Mosquito carried a smaller bomb load than heavy bombers, but it didn't need volume. It relied on precision. Targets were chosen carefully. Factories, headquarters, infrastructure. The aircraft would arrive suddenly, release its payload with accuracy, and vanish before defenses could respond. Loss rates were astonishingly low. While other bomber crews faced terrifying odds, Mosquito crews returned again and again. German commanders grew increasingly frustrated. Their defenses were built to counter slow formations. The Mosquito ignored every expectation. It did not circle. It did not linger. It did not fight unless it chose to. It simply passed through. Confidence in the aircraft grew. Its role expanded. Daylight missions, once unthinkable, became possible. Carefully timed strikes hit symbolic targets. Propaganda broadcasts were interrupted mid-sentence. Government buildings were struck during working hours. The psychological impact was immense. The message was unmistakable. No place was beyond reach. German fighters scrambled repeatedly, but the Mosquito's speed and altitude gave it control over every encounter. If intercepted, it could climb. If chased, it could run. Often it did neither, simply flying past before the enemy could react. The wooden aircraft had become untouchable. As the war dragged on, the Mosquito adapted again. German bombers still struck Britain under cover of darkness. The solution was to turn the Mosquito into a hunter. Equipped with radar and heavy weapons, it stalked enemy bombers silently.
German crews never heard it coming.
The first warning was cannon fire. Many never knew what destroyed them. Special operations followed. Precision strikes. Daring missions. Prison walls breached to free resistance fighters. Headquarters destroyed in broad daylight. The Mosquito did what no other aircraft could. Germany tried to respond. Faster fighters, more radar, heavier defenses. Nothing worked. By the final years of the war, the Mosquito was everywhere. Reconnaissance, bombing, night fighting, special operations. Its loss rates remained astonishingly low. Crews trusted it with their lives. When the war ended, the truth was clear. Speed had replaced armor. Precision had replaced brute force. Innovation had defeated tradition. Today, only a few Mosquitoes remain. Wooden frames, smooth curves, quiet museum halls. They stand as reminders of an idea nearly ignored, nearly abandoned, but ultimately unstoppable. The plane they laughed at, the plane they could not stop, the wooden aircraft that changed air warfare forever.